everybody, it's Professor Parish, and welcome to week 7 of English 109. This is our last full week as a class, and so I want to go over what we're doing this week, and obviously talk about week 7, but I also want to talk about week 8, because next week is finals week, if you can believe it. It's crazy, right? So I want to talk a little bit about finals week, talk about this week. It won't be too long of a video, and then as always, if you have any questions, you can feel free to let me know. All right, so without any further ado, and that's gonna bug me, let's jump into week 7 of English 109. And I apologize, my dog is likely going to want me to throw a ball, as he is just now giving me a ball to throw. Drop it, thank you. Yeah. So, let's talk about week 7. Because this week, as I'm recording this, it is Monday, so I wasn't able to record last night because there was a power outage where I'm at. I know. And so I wasn't able to record, so I had to record today. But week 7. So you have 3 assignments due this week. The first one is the final textbook activity. So we finished up our grammar review last week, and this week is our final textbook assignment. So I'm going to pull that up here in just a second. And then we have our discussion forum, and finally the writing prep for paper 4, for the argument paper. So I'm going to talk about this because it's kind of double dipping the same week. You're turning in what your paper is due on, and you're turning in a draft. So it is a little bit rushed this week, but since we're in the summer format, it's unfortunately unavoidable given how the summer is only 8 weeks instead of our normal 16 weeks. Usually in a full-length class, I can shorten one of our papers up and give us an extra week, but you still get 2 weeks to work on this paper. You're just turning in the writing prep, and we're doing a draft in the same week, so it may feel a little bit more condensed than it normally is. But let me pull up the textbook activity before we start talking about the paper. The textbook activity is mainly just going over questions in our textbook. There are specific directions on what they want you to do with these sentences. So refer to pages 132 to 135 in your English skills textbook. They'll give you directions on what to do with each of these sentences and how to expand upon them. And the same for this down here, mainly for all the questions. And then finally, the last part down here, pages 134 to 135. We did this last week, but it's just combining sentences. And I'm having us keep doing this because some of us in the class are not making one complete sentence. You're just giving me multiple sentences, and I want you to combine all 3 of these statements into one sentence. Some of you are doing great with this, but there are still a few struggling to do the assignment correctly, so I want to give you guys just one more chance to do that for this assignment here. And that's the last 5 there. So it should be pretty straightforward. You will just need your textbook to do the questions for this final textbook assignment. So there's that. Let's talk about, before we do the discussion forum, let us talk about the actual writing prep argumentation. That's our last paper in the class. So the writing prep is the same as it has been for our other papers. I just want to know your topic and what your outline is. The focus is on argumentation, which is chapter 16 in our textbook. It's mainly just, what are you passionate about? And I will say this, the big thing about argument that most students find problematic is that you don't want to make this paper a rant. You don't want to just yell at your audience about how you agree or disagree with something. Instead, what you want to do is you want to calmly and collectively, and using support and research, put forth an argument of why you believe a certain thing and use that research to support yourself. And that's kind of the point of this paper. I want it to be articulated and professional and look like a college essay. I've had some students in the past turn in papers that were basically just like a Facebook rant, and I was like, oh, no. I want you to show that you can organize your thoughts and break things down. And they don't have to be big, controversial topics. I had a guy write an argument paper one time about why Ford was better than Chevy. And his whole argument, it was kind of like a compare and contrast paper, and he just made the argument and used his claims and research to back him up, and it worked great. So your topics don't have to be anything serious. They can be an argument for why you prefer one thing over the other. Maybe you like the Hunger Games books more than you do the movies. That's an argument, and you can make that. Your argument paper can be a traditional format of, here is my point, these are my supporting paragraphs, and here's my final conclusion. Or you can make it a compare and contrast paper and kind of combine the elements we've already used in paper 2 into this last paper. So that's entirely up to you. I just want to make sure that your paper argues something and that you kind of follow the procedures and guidelines that are talked about in chapter 16 with an argument paper. So the paper is worth the same amount as our last couple of papers. It's worth 50 points. I will definitely be checking your topics to make sure that they work. I'll try to check them. I still have your writing narration papers to grade tomorrow, and then I'll also be looking at your topics as well. Please make sure that you post your topic before the discussion forum, because I want to make sure your topic will work before you post your draft in the discussion forum. Speaking of which, let's talk about that last assignment, the discussion forum. That's the third assignment this week, and basically all you're doing is these last couple of papers you've had the chance to revise. With your last paper, you don't really get that because the paper is due during finals week. So instead of having the option to revise paper 4, the argument paper, I'm going to let you all peer review each other's work and get feedback on it before you finish the paper and turn it in. So hopefully that if there's any grammar errors or spelling errors or you're not putting your sources in the paper, we can address that now rather than when you go to turn the paper in. So all I ask is that for this week, for your paper, you attach a draft. Please don't copy and paste, attach the file. If you don't know how to do this, what you do is you go to add post. I'm gonna see if it'll let me do it. It won't let me do it. Okay, so we're gonna go back to regular view. Let me see here. Okay, so in the last forum, nobody's posted yet, so this will work out good. What you do is you go to add post, and then you can label a subject whatever you want. I can say paper number 4. You can just say my topic is union versus non-union jobs. And you can tell me like which you prefer. You can explain your topic. You can say, hey, read my paper if you like this, whatever. And then what I want you to do is go to this link that says from my computer, and then you can add a file from your computer. Once you pick on that file, let's just say I do that one, then I can click add. Make sure you click add, and you'll see there's a link, okay? And so on that link, what you want to do is you can actually delete it if it's the wrong link, or if it's correct, you can do submit, and it will submit. If I preview it, this is what it's going to look like. The preview is going to show me, oh no, I clicked something twice. But anyway, the preview will show you what the post will look like, all right? That's kind of the idea behind it. Let me make sure that it didn't post. Okay, good, it didn't. So, but that's what you're going to do is you're going to turn in your draft. It does not have to be 3 full pages. I'm not going to give you a requirement, but I am going to say this. The more complete your draft is, the more you're going to get out of it. So if you just turn in a paragraph, you're not going to get much feedback, and it's not going to really help you when you go to turn in your final paper. But if you turn in a full draft, that's going to be very helpful. And that will give me time to look over your paper in more detail, to give you more suggestions, and help make sure that the paper you turn in is as complete as it can be. So I would recommend getting the paper as long or as close to as 3 pages as you can. And then from there, you just respond to your peers. So you would just respond, let me put on here. Yep. You just respond to at least 2 drafts. So I know we've been doing 4 discussion post replies. You only have to read and review 2 peer papers this go around. So you're doing less replies, but I want your replies to be more in-depth because you're going into why you liked the paper, what was good about it, what would you change about it. Nobody's writing is perfect, so don't be afraid to give feedback and say, hey, your introduction was really cool and I liked this about it, but maybe when you transition to that first paragraph, add a sentence about such and such. What I don't want in your responses is I don't want you to just say, that was a great paper, and that's it. because that's not helpful to the writer. I want you to give some feedback and explain what you liked about it and what could possibly be improved on for the final. So those are the 3 assignments. I'm also noticing you guys commented on this. My due dates have been 11:55 and something has changed them to 12 a.m., which is not what it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go back in and change that. But the textbook activity and the writing prep are both due by Sunday. The writing discussion forum is due Friday and Sunday. I'm going to change those times to 11:55 when I get off of this video because those should be corrected. And then finals week. Nothing is showing up yet, but starting on Sunday, you will be able to see the last assignments that are due. The only things due for this week, for finals week, is going to be the final exam, which is cumulative. It's going to be over all the chapters we've looked at in the book. And the revisions to paper 3 will be due, and then your argument paper will be due. So I am going to do one more video, guys, for week 8. I'm going to post it by Sunday during the day so that you guys can kind of see that and see what finals looks like. But otherwise, these are your assignments for the day. I'm going to go back in and change the due dates so that they are correct. Thank you to those that emailed me and let me know about last week. I'm not sure why it changed, but we got it fixed, so that's all that matters. But I hope you guys have had a great weekend. And I hope that as we are getting closer to the end of the semester, that you guys have a great final week 7 as well. And the next week we'll come back and talk about finals week. But stay safe, guys. Have a great week. And I'll talk to you all again soon.